Early in my pregnancy, I took an over-the-counter test that said we were having a boy. Then a few weeks later, a medical test confirmed that we were having a girl. So it was this roller coaster ride of emotion, and in this video, I'm going to tell you about it. So when I first got back the results from the IntelliGender test that said we were having a boy, I was disappointed, to be completely honest. And I went through like a 2-day period of kind of grief because it wasn't what I thought. I always thought I was going to have a boy and a girl. And so it was just something new to wrap my brain around. And so I just needed some time to process that. But of course, as this was happening, I was having major mom guilt because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want this baby to think I'm not super happy that he is growing in my belly and that I'm just so grateful that he's here and he's going to be healthy. And because at the end of the day, I don't really care, but it was just something I had to accept, right? And that's a process. So once I did, I quickly moved into gratitude. And it was so funny because it was like God kind of surrounded me with all these moms of 2 boys. And like everywhere I went, I saw a mom with 2 boys. And I got to see all of the gifts. First of all, just the closeness that these 2 boys could have. I mean, they could be like best little buddies and play together and have similar interests and learn from each other. And there's just a connection I've seen with siblings of the same sex. I never had a sister, and I was always envious of people that did have a sister because they had this like soul connection and just this person that always had their back. And I have a brother and I love him to pieces and we're close, but there's just some things we can't cross the divide because we're just different creatures. So anyways, I saw that as a blessing. I also got to see that it's easier, I mean, I know how to raise a boy. I love raising Griffin. I've got my tips and tricks to deal with boys and the boy things that are maybe unique versus a girl. And so I'm like, I can do this again, and it just made the whole process seem easier. And frankly, isn't that a gift? Because motherhood is hard enough as it is. And then also, I thought, gosh, we could just batch activities. Like they could do t-ball, they could do soccer together, they could do this together. And then the final thing is, I think it's good for me to get out of my comfort zone. And I think having 2 boys would have done that because I probably would have been going to a lot more baseball games or maybe watching a lot more, football or I don't know, chess. I don't know what they would be into, but it'd probably be different than what I would normally gravitate towards. So that would have been a gift. Also, I knew that Mike would be okay with 2 boys.
I would have been fine with having another boy. I come from a family where there's just my brother and me, and so I know that dynamic, and it's a great dynamic. I was, though, very surprised to get that news, and I was surprised for 3 reasons. One was Genevieve and I took some steps to try to have a girl, and I think that we'll do a separate video about that in the future. The second reason was when I thought about the baby or prayed for the baby, I just had this really strong sense that it was a girl. And then finally, Genevieve and I have a great name for a girl, and we've had this name for years, since before Griffin was born. And we don't have a boy's name. And it just felt like a real shame if we couldn't use that name. And also, I felt a little bit bad for Genevieve because I can see how close she is with her mother, and I know how much she wanted to have a girl. And that's why it was such an awesome surprise when we found out that we were.
It was really sweet when we got that call from the midwife because I was able to patch Mike in and we heard the results together. So we found out at the same time that we're having a girl, and I literally just screamed. I was like, woo! And Griffin started screaming. He had no idea why, but I was just so overjoyed. It was the day after Mother's Day. I'm like, what a gift. And I just felt like all the dreams and desires in my heart were coming true and just was, praising God, so happy. And it was just so funny because Griffin from the very beginning, right when I told him I was pregnant, he's like, it's a baby girl. He always thought it was a baby girl, baby girl, baby girl. It also validated, I had some spiritual experiences early in my pregnancy with Griffin that really kind of pointed towards having a girl. And for example, when I was praying right when I found out I was pregnant, I heard like in that still small voice saying to me, she's on her way. And so for most of the pregnancy, until that ultrasound, I thought I was having a girl. So when I found out I was having a boy, it just really surprised me again. I had to kind of adjust to that. And now it just feels like everything's coming full circle. Like I was supposed to have a boy and a girl. That's how it was in my family. That's how it is in my brother's family. And I think the greatest thing is I just can't wait to hopefully have a close relationship with this girl and just be chatty with her. Like I talk to my mom every single day. I tell her about like what I'm cooking for dinner or, just the small stuff that you talk about in life. And I'm really looking forward to having that kind of bond with my daughter. And of course, I would totally welcome that with Griffin as well. But just from what I've seen, boys don't call as much. They're just maybe not as chatty or they're just doing other things. Like Mike is super close to his mom. They are like, he adores her. but he probably only talks to her like every 10 days or so. So that was my journey. You know, the funny thing about all of this is that truly no one knows for sure until literally I give birth, because a woman emailed me and she said she had 2 boys. She took the maternity 21 test on her 3rd pregnancy. It said she was having a girl. They did 2 ultrasounds. Both of them said she was having a girl. She gave birth and she had a boy. So go figure. The maternity 21 test, I think it's like 98.5% accurate, so there's always a margin for error. So we shall see. But that was my journey. Would love to hear from you guys. Did you want a boy, a girl? Did you not care? What was your journey like? Share with me in the comments below. And thanks as always for tuning in.